And welcome to 10.8 cubic polynomials. And in this lesson, in this example, we're going to talk about how to factor by grouping. This is totally different than anything you've seen before, and so please pay attention. I'm going to show you two examples, and hopefully that'll help you out with the new assignment. Here's our example. We have an expression that looks like this: x cubed plus 5x squared minus 4x minus 20. We have four terms. We haven't worked with factoring four terms before, so that's your first clue that something's different. We're going to try something. We need to have a new plan. So with factoring by grouping, what you're going to try to do is take two terms, group them together, and see if you can factor out a greatest common factor out of those two terms. And so in this example, I'm going to group these first two terms together, 4x cubed and the 5x squared, and I'm going to group the negative 4x and the negative 20 together as two different groups. It's usually going to be like this for a book, where the two terms will be the first two will be a group, and the second two will be a group. So I look at x cubed plus 5x squared. What can I factor out of those two terms? I can factor out an x squared. So I take out an x squared right here, and what would I multiply x squared by to get these two terms? X squared times x is x cubed, and x squared times 5 is 5x squared. So that's where I get this part, and then what's left in the parenthesis goes there. Okay? Then I look at the second term, the negative 4x minus 20, and I ask, what can I factor out of these two terms? And if you can take out a negative, always factor out the negative. So I'm going to factor out a negative 4. So I take my negative 4, goes right here, and I'm going to multiply it by x plus 5. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times this 5 is negative 20. So I've factored out kind of a common pair, or I've factored out different things from these four different terms. Now here's where factoring by grouping works. You look to see if you have a common term, and you do. X plus 5 here, I'm going to try to do this twice there, and this x plus 5 show up in both of these little grouping patterns. Okay? Because we have the same one, we're going to take x plus 5, this expression here, and I'm having a hard time using my pen, and this is my first time doing one with a pen, and we're going to take x plus 5, and that goes down here as one of my answers. And then you take the other two parts, this x squared and this negative 4x, or just the negative 4, and those go into this other parenthesis here. So x squared goes in the front, the minus 4 goes here, that becomes a parenthesis, that becomes a binomial, and we're going to multiply that by x plus 5. Alright? Now one last thing you have to do, just make sure you factor it completely. Can you factor x squared minus 4 anymore? You can. That gets factored into x plus 2 times x minus 2. It's a difference of perfect squares. Tack on the x plus 5, and this is your final answer. Okay? Now let me just do one more, a little more quickly, and show that one over here. Okay? We have x cubed minus 4x squared minus 9x plus 36. Again, we have four terms, so we're going to try to see if we can factor out or do some grouping, factoring by grouping. So I'm going to take these first two terms, see what I can factor out of them, and then I'm going to take the second two terms and see what I can factor out of those. Change it here to my writing tool, go to blue just so that's not overly done with red, and x cubed minus 4x squared, I can take out an x squared. What's going to be left out of these two terms? I'm going to have left an x minus 4. Okay, does that make sense? Think through that, see if it does. On the next set, I have negative 9x plus 36. Again, if you can ever take out a negative, just take out the negative. It's going to pay off at the end. So I'm going to divide negative 9x by negative 9. I'm going to divide 36 by negative 9. So I'm going to write minus 9 times, well, x minus 4. Negative 9 times this negative 4 gives me that positive 36. Make sure you're good with your signs and you pay attention to those. Okay? Now that we've done that, again, you're going to notice that I have x minus 4 and x minus 4 again. Those are the same. So when I rewrite my final answer down here, I'm going to take this x squared and I'm going to do minus 9. That comes from the two parts that are outside these parentheses. And that becomes one parenthesis grouping, and we're going to multiply that by what we have in common, which is x minus 4. Ask yourself one more time, is there any more factoring you can do? Can you break x squared minus 9 down anymore? And you can. It's a difference of perfect squares. So x plus 3 times x minus 3 is how x squared minus 9 gets broken down. And don't forget x minus 4. And now you have your final answer. Pretty cool stuff, a little complicated, a little different than what we've done in the past, but I think you can try it out. Give it a try. Good luck.